I know the tenses, I know some complex structures, but the ability to put them in my answer on the fly at the under pressure in that moment, that was very difficult for me,
That was
because
a winner trait in you, and which facilitated my coaching as well.
I remember the first advice that you gave me that helped me in a grand way was to just speak.
Est-ce qu'il y avait quelque chose que tu as fait en dehors de la classe pour, encore une fois, appliquer mon feedback à propos de la conjugaison, à propos des temps verbaux? Est-ce que tu as pris...
Again, so the most important thing is to have vocabulary and to not repeat the same things again and again. But one thing that really helped me boost my score, which I think often gets overlooked, is the interactions with the
In
examiner.
terms of doing this permutation, combination with writing and speaking, did reading up for writing help you with speaking? Did practicing for speaking help you with writing?
So I spend the most time on speaking and writing because they are the hardest ones, because you have MCQs for reading and listening. And I wanted to create a plan that I would stick to, because I knew if I made it too hard, I would just give up. So I used to do at least.
And the $1,000,000 question, how much time do you think someone from B1 level would take to arrive at a CLB 7 level? Speaking of native languages, did you find any similarities between Punjabi and French? Donc, commençons par l'expression orale, Harinder. What do you feel was most difficult with speaking and was easy for you with speaking?
The most difficult part for speaking for me was just the sheer length, because section B lasts for 10 minutes. And it was not just that I have to speak for 10 minutes, but essentially that I have to say the same idea again and again, but in different words, because I want to fill up that space. Otherwise, if I just answer in one or two lines, that doesn't bode well for me, because the examiner is going to mark me down for that. That does not feel like someone with a grand vocabulary and great understanding of the language. So just the ability to keep talking about the same topic without going too much on a tangent from the argument that the examiner has raised, and to fill up that time, that was the greatest challenge for me. And also because I know the tenses, I know some complex structures, but the ability to put them in my answer on the fly at the under pressure in that moment, that was very difficult for me, because most of my answers were coming out simplistic with just the present tense and very simple sentences, even though I'm very well versed in a bunch of tenses and some other structures. So the putting them in use at the time under pressure, that was the most difficult part for me.
Right, right. And just a follow-up question. You said that applying tenses when speaking was something which didn't come natural to you. So here, you knew the rules, you knew the conjugation. What do you think was stopping you from applying it with ease? Is it the fact that someone else is facing you? Is it the fact that the time is ticking? Is it the exam pressure? Or maybe perhaps a lack of practice?
So for me, for my first attempt, which happened before I joined your classes, lack of preparation was a huge thing, because I did not have anyone to speak French with. So the ability to again to translate those phrases and make those sentences on the fly, that was severely lacking. But even after joining your classes, it wasn't just the preparation that I got a lot out of. It was your advice about how to make the answers more structured and more polished, and that eventually just gave me more and more of confidence. And I think that showed up in my exam as well, that if you seem confident, you probably are. And that I was confident in my ability to speak because of your guidance.
Yeah. And what I liked most about you is that you are very receptive to my feedback. You are very receptive, and you put in effort to incorporate my feedback actively. It wasn't just you telling me, yes, 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 not just that, but you made a conscious effort to absorb my feedback and implement it in the next possible chance. That was a winner trait in you, and which facilitated my coaching as well. Speaking of feedback, particularly, can you recall what feedback I used to give you oftentimes, and how did you incorporate it in your speaking and writing?
Well, I remember the first advice that you gave me that helped me in a grand way was to just speak slowly. Because in my mind, in order to seem like someone who is fluent in French, I would have to speak very quickly, to the point that most of the words would merge together. That was the conception that I had in my mind. But and because of that, I used to make so many mistakes that I would say the mistake, then I would realize that I made a mistake, and I have to go back and correct it, which again shattered my confidence. But because of your advice to speak slowly and to be deliberate in my speaking, which is that understand every word that is coming out of your mouth and try to eliminate the mistakes, that gave me a sense of
Composure, I believe.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
like sort
yeah,
of a quiet confidence. Yes, versus speaking fast to impress the examiner.
yeah,
Just you speaking deliberately with calm and composure and making fewer mistakes in the process,
yes,
that is more important. So again, most people think that speaking fast would automatically fetch great scores, but it's not the case if you make mistakes in the bargain. So
yes, exactly.
fluency is speaking steadily with good grammar and vocab range, right? Yeah.
Yes, because like after your advice, I started to speak French more calmly, but also started to enunciate the
Mm-hmm.
words
Mm-hmm.
that gives another sense of like clarity to what I was saying, rather than just mumbling half of the words.
Et est-ce que tu articules toujours quand tu parles français ou anglais ou est-ce que tu articules
Oui,
toujours?
j'articule quand je parle français, mais en anglais, c'est,
Rapide. Was there something, on va un peu parler en français. Est-ce qu'il y avait quelque chose que tu as fait en dehors de la classe pour, encore une fois, appliquer mon feedback à propos de la conjugaison, à propos des temps verbaux? Est-ce que tu as pris des démarches particulières pour bien t'exercer à la conjugaison?
oui, en dehors de la classe, j'ai utilisé tous les outils, toutes les ressources qui sont disponibles pour moi en ligne, c'est-à-dire un site web où je peux pratiquer toutes les conjugations, tous les temps, tous les verbes. Et j'ai utilisé l'intelligence artificielle pour traduire. Euh, j'ai demandé l'IA de me donner quelques phrases en anglais dont je peux traduire en français, et cela facilite énormément le processus de traduire les phrases dans ma tête quand je commence à parler.
Je vois. Peux-tu réexpliquer ça en anglais, s'il te plaît, cette petite stratégie que tu as employée pour maîtriser les temps verbaux?
So I used a lot of resources that were available to me online. There were some websites where I could read and try to do the conjugations for different kind of verbs in different tenses. That helped me a lot. But also I used to do translation drills upon suggestion from my teacher, which was I would ask any AI agent, whether it's ChatGPT or even the WhatsApp AI, I would ask them to give me some phrases in English that I would then translate into French. And that process helped me a lot, because that is exactly what is going on in our minds when we begin to learn to speak a language. So that helped me in a great manner, because that fastened the process of me translating the phrases and saying them to the examiner.
And when you talk about translation, I believe it's translating idea by idea versus word by word, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. In the beginning, it was word by word, and that was very bad, because the order of adjective is different. Some phrases are different. Some
prepositions.
yes, all of that. But I was sure that if I kept doing like just more general translations, eventually it will go to like I can translate two words together, I can translate three words together, then I can translate phrases, and then the entire sentences. So that is what I had to slowly build up to. But yes, in the beginning it was just words, which wasn't very helpful.
Right. So that is how you solve the problem, I believe, of um, knowing the rules, but not being able to apply it on the
Yes.
go. So
Yes,
eventually,
because
with these
I
results, you were able to.
yes, because I was able to, when I was writing, I was able to correct my mistakes and generally not make as much
Mm.
mistakes, because I was thinking while I was writing. But yes, for speaking, it's difficult because it was difficult because it was again on the fly. And even though I knew all the rules, I knew I was like the moment I was done speaking, I would know that I have done something wrong. But just that process of do not making the mistake and doing it first in the correct order, in the correct way, that was
Right.
important.
Right. And I think it is a problem which most people would identify with, right? And I'm sure this suggestion would be helpful for them.
Yeah.
All right. Share a piece of wisdom. OK, un petit conseil, une astuce, quelque chose qui aurait été utile à savoir dès le début. Ouais. Something which you wish you had known before when you started.
Okay. Um, Again, so the most important thing is to have vocabulary and to not repeat the same things again and again. But one thing that really helped me boost my score, which I think often gets overlooked, is the interactions with the examiner, because you have to look at them, smile, and respond to what they are saying. And
Mhm.
that part is important because the examiner is also trying to have a conversation with you. And if you engage with them, if you look at them and respond to what they are saying, then it feels more natural in a conversation, and it also boosts the score, but it also makes it a pleasant experience for the both of you. I think
Absolutely.
that's something that's very important.
Absolutely. Did you enjoy your épreuve oral? Looking back in hindsight, how was it? How did your speaking go the exam day?
The first one or the final one?
The final one where you clinched it.
Yeah, the first one was very bad, but yes, the final one, I was very nervous again because it's speaking and anything can happen. But the moment that the section A started,
Mm.
and I asked something, he said something, then I said something more, that conversation, it because it felt natural, it just kept going on and on, and I did not have to think a lot because all of the things were just coming up one by one
Organically.
organically. Yes,
Right,
all the
right,
things were coming up organically, so I didn't
right.
have to really think a lot. A lot of it just felt natural, and yes, it was very genuine. It was a very pleasant experience with my final exam. Yes.
Wonderful. And how did section B go? Did you feel the length of 10 minutes or did it happen quicker than you had anticipated?
It did happen quicker than I had anticipated. It was a new topic that I had never done before. I
Which was
never.
it? Can you just
Yeah, I
tell me?
will. So my section A was une organisation qui offre la possibilité de loyer des ordinateurs portables en échange de faire quelques travail bénévole.
D'accord. Ah, assez original comme thème.
C'était de deuxième partie, c'était une club qui offre des ateliers de bricolage, de location des outils et des espaces et des astuces des experts. C'est-à-dire tout inclusif. Oui, section B était un sujet très nouvel pour moi, mais quand la conversation a commencé, le temps passe plus vite que prévu.
Je vois, je vois. Ce qui est bonne chose, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, oui, oui,
Oui.
c'était très bon.
Oui. You didn't tell me what you found easy with speaking. That just came to my mind. Yeah.
Oh. So, concerning speaking, the part that was the easiest to me was just the idea that I would have to use to counter their arguments, because I read so much from writing and also a bunch of speaking prompts, that I was never stuck in what to say as
Mm.
a result. So I could speak. I mean, I had a lot of ideas. The difficult part was to not use the same words again and again, and to structure them in a very I guess conscious and way that would exude confidence to the examiner.
Mm. Can you recall any example of, let's say, an idea which you had in mind, which you tried verbalizing in different ways? Any sentence?
Yes, so most of it was just saying, like I've said, the same thing, using different words. So, tu peux te reposer, tu auras plein d'opportunités pour te détendre. Just to not use te détendre a lot of the time. And another one was to profit of something,
Mm.
that not saying salat edra. It was tu sortira gagnon, tu salata servira dans une grande mesure, and
Mhm.
salat edra was just using different words for the same thing again.
Passons maintenant à l'expression écrite. Okay, let's move on to the writing part of your exam. How did you educate yourself on different topics, on different themes?
For different themes, for different themes, it was just doing a lot and lot of reading. I wanted to prepare for, I would never be out of ideas, because if I have an idea of what this topic could entail, I could polish that idea, make it into an argument, make it into a paragraph. I just read a lot of examples of section A and section B, and that helped me greatly, because in the exam time I did not have to because in the exam time I did not have to create an argument. I just had to write them in and justify them.
Did you spend any time in doing a little sketch of your plan, or how did you approach the writing task?
Yes, for both the writing task, my first step was to write everything down in the first. If I would take the first 5-ish minutes to just think of what I want the answers to be, and then next 5 minutes just write everything that is coming into my mind, and only after that would I just start to arrange the lines. That is one of the benefits of doing it on the computer. Arrange them until I am satisfied that it looks good. So that was my strategy: think and to just write everything down quickly.
Right. So you did a small plan of perhaps your main ideas and then you fleshed it out at the moment
Yes.
of writing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So those 5 minutes is time well spent. It's not a waste of time, but it actually gives direction to your writing. Mm? Right. And how did you manage time? 25 minutes, 35 minutes? Did you have enough time in your writing exam?
I did have enough time for the first one. I had too much time for the first one because it was just 80 minutes. The I guess the harder part for people. I guess the harder part for people is to come up with the story, but that comes easily to me. It is only 80 words minimum, so I write what comes to my mind, I polish them, I make sure there are no mistakes, and section A is quite easy in that sense that have plenty of time after I'm done with section A. Section B, because it's longer obviously, but I'm always just on the brink of time for section B, because to the last minute, to the last 10 seconds, I'm just trying to change a line or to make it a bit
Oh,
nice or polished.
okay. And you were able to finish everything before you hit submit, right? Before the time
Yes,
went up.
yes.
Perfect.
Yes, I pressed submit for the first one. For the second one, the submit button pressed itself because I was just waiting for the next last 10 seconds that I've not made any mistakes and it looks good and it looks structured and justified in my arguments. That's all.
And catching any small errors, silly
Yes.
errors, which
Yes. No edits.
right, right,
Yeah.
nice. And in terms of doing this permutation combination with writing and speaking, did reading up for writing help you with speaking? Did practicing for speaking help you with writing?
Yes, because all of these skills build off of one another. So anytime I would be preparing for one thing, I would subconsciously be preparing for everything, because reading the answers for writing would give me more vocabulary to use and more confidence in my speaking part as well. And that's the same with speaking, that because I was uh, translating and using more structures, that I would incorporate them into my writing as well. Even though speaking is a bit more personal and writing is a bit more professional, but they do overlap in that it gives you a broader, it gives you a
General
more
knowledge,
sense of understanding. Yeah.
connaissance
General-
generale.
Yes.
All right. When it
Yeah.
comes to listening and reading, what were some of the resources that you used? And particularly, I'm interested in the difficult questions in listening and reading. How did you tackle them?
Yes. So the only resource I used for reading and listening questions was Prep My Future in the TEF section. For listening, I rather than doing mock tests, I just used to do the same kind of questions in one sitting, because rather than doing a bunch of different kind of questions, if it's just the long audio ones, I would just do those kind of questions in one sitting, because that would kind of rewire my brain to think how to what where the answer would be in the recording and how to catch that answer rather
Mhm.
than just flipping about different kinds of questions. So
Mhm.
that really helped me with listening, just doing the same kind of questions over and over again.
Mhm.
Also, just passive listening throughout the day on the radio, news, or YouTube or anything. That also helped my reading because my brain started piecing together words and understanding more because I kept listening more and more.
Mm.
And the same thing goes for reading because, again, I used to read a lot for writing and speaking parts. So reading was a bit easier for me, even in my IELTS exam. Reading is the easiest part for me. I often don't even prepare for reading in English. So that was something that I had an innate ability to do, but also just that reading lots of things, because most of the time it's just different vocabulary that they are trying to test in reading and in listening as well. So just reading a lot, having uh, big vocabulary again, big vocabulary. Just having a big vocabulary helps in all modules, because most of the questions in reading and in listening are what did this person say, and the options, they don't match one to what the person is saying, but just a synonym for what he said.
Synonyms, yes.
Yeah.
So, Harinder, what was your daily study plan like? How much time did you spend on all four modules? How much time did you spend on my homework?
Yes. So I spend the most time on speaking and writing because they are the hardest ones, because you have MCQs for reading and listening.
Mhm.
And I wanted to create a plan that I would stick to, because I knew if I made it too hard, I would just give up. So I used to do at least 45 minutes every day. That included conjugation drills and reading different writing topics and speaking topics. On my days off, I would do more listenings because I would have time to sit down. That would be like 4 hours, some in the
Wow.
morning, afternoon, and then some in the evening, not together because the brain just gets tired and wants to give up anyway.
Yeah.
So the listening and reading, reading I did the least, just once a week, I think. Listening, then I would do on my days off, just the same kind of questions in one sitting. But I was really focused on speaking and writing, and that's what I did every day, whether it's just translation or reading more and more topics. Every time before the class, I would, because we had the topics beforehand with for class with you, so I would formulate my answers. I try to make them CLB 7 level worthy,
Mhm.
and I would also just search up a few things to say about just the vocabulary regarding that topic. Like with a cruise, there would be like Bato and all the activities that go on a cruise, and Malamer, all those things that I would understand more. Uh, I would have more things to say if I know more words.
Right, right. And it showed, your preparation showed when you spoke your answers. It was well researched. It wasn't saying whatever goes in through your head at that point, but it was well researched. So I think it is important to strike a balance between spontaneity and doing your homework, like doing
Yes,
your research documentaire, right?
yes, of course. Yes, definitely.
Makes sense. All right, that was some real hard work. And the million-dollar question: how much time do you think someone from B1 level would take to arrive at a CLB 7 level?
Okay. With B1 level, I think it will take, for a general person, I think it would take 5, 6 months at least. Because if someone is at B1 level, they're not starting from the scratch, but they need to uh, polish their French to a CLB 7 level, and that cannot happen quickly. A lot of people think that if they take their days off from job, they can and concentrate 100% on their French, they will be able to do it in a month. But your brain doesn't adapt that quickly, because you need to gain the abilities to translate quickly and to inculcate to add a lot of different words, different ways to say the same thing into your speaking, into your writing, and that takes a little bit of time. So even with if you don't have a job and you are putting 100%, like 10 hours a day on French, it will be extremely difficult to do it in a month or so. It will take at least 3, 4 months, but most of us have jobs and other family commitments, so I would say a safe bet is 5, 6, 7 months. And that also is, again, the quality of teacher. You're a very good one. Your advice was good, and also your own dedication about how I want to practice and which things I want to focus on, which things I'm weakest at.
Right, that's a realistic timeline. So essentially, someone that's starting out French, for them to arrive at a CIV 7 level, let's say around 10, 12 months, a year is a realistic timeline.
Yes, from the scratch, it's much more difficult because uh, especially in the beginning, it's a lot of for army and a lot of just things that's adapting your brain to a language that is different than either your native language or English in most of other people's cases. That because it is again the order of objectives adjectives is different. The words sometimes are similar, but most sometimes are just there to trip you up. So yes, the if starting from scratch, I would say I will take any year as a safe guess. That would be realistic.
Right, right. I mean, speaking of native languages, did you find any similarities between Punjabi and French? Any
Oh.
words at all which had a
Oh,
similar?
the words I had a list in the beginning of like, oh, these words sound similar, they must share the same root, and I used to write them down. I don't have it now, but the one thing that was easier for me because my native tongue is Punjabi is the gender of the words, and that thing that trips people up with the that if I'm saying my ability, that it won't be more competence because I am a man, it will be ma competence because
Based
the
on the,
competence is
yeah,
a feminine word.
yes.
So that was a easy concept, but yes, a lot of it was. But the Punjabi did help me, especially with learning the gender of the
Is
words.
it the same role of adjective possessive in Punjabi as well? Is it the same role? Like you do the adjective possessive based on the object, based on what's possessed versus the
Yes,
person.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. So, yep, the
Interesting.
adjective would be according to the gender of the word. But I didn't because it's my native tongue, so I never in Punjabi I don't have to think what the gender of the word is and what adjective I have to put in. But yes, if in French I have to really, really put effort into remembering exactly and trying to make little tricks for myself that milk must be male and tea must be this or that. Yes.
But over time, I think it became natural. You were able
Yes,
to
yes. The
remember
more, again, the more you read, the
to
more you
read.
listen, the more you speak, that is setting up in your mind the building blocks that you will just remember these things as almost as an instinct.
Right. So your instincts build up.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. All right. This has been very educational. I'm sure it would be for a lot of TEF aspirants as well, um, who will look to emulate you and your parkour, right?
Thank you. I hope the best. I wish the best for all of them, and I hope them great success in the future. One thing I feel like I forgot to mention in my exam was the ability to speak. Like one thing I did for my daily preparation was to just speak out loud, even in the beginning
Mm,
of our classes.
yeah.
That not just reading, but to speak out loud whatever I was reading, because that would train the vocal cords to move in a certain way, and that would make the French more easy on the throat by time, and but also more natural because your throat is being trained to make those noises because they are not natural noises to most of us. So those, yeah, speaking out loud and not just reading in your mind, that helps a lot also.
I think it's a very, very relevant advice, which is something that I keep telling my students as well to speak out loud, even to record themselves, hear their voice, to tune their minds. Yeah. I do remember you sometimes muting yourself and then practicing the answers before it's your turn.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was just
You
to, yeah,
went the
to
extra mile.
structure the answer to yes, to be like yes, 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 these words, and I would not trip like because happens that there are some words that I start to say them normally, but in the middle I just trip up. Either I mix them with some other word, or I'm not able to say the word completely. So it was important for me to just practice this word to say like ordinator, ordinator, ordinator. So when I speak it in my answer, I wouldn't mess up that one word.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And for old time's sake, shall we do a
Yes,
simulation?
yes, of course. Let's go.
Perfect.